Shedeur Sanders possesses a level of confidence so extreme it feels like a superpower, an invisible armor he wears on and off the field that seems to repel all doubt, fear, and pressure. It's in the deliberate, almost regal way he walks into a room, the unshakable calmness in his voice even when facing a barrage of media questions, and the almost supernatural poise with which he leads his team down the field in the most chaotic game-on-the-line moments. That unshakable swagger is his greatest weapon, the very engine that powers the entire Prime Effect in Colorado, a multi-million-dollar kingdom built on hype, spectacle, and raw, unapologetic personality. But it's also his most dangerous liability, a fatal flaw hiding in plain sight, an arrogance so profound it consistently borders on recklessness. In a stunning and almost unbelievable turn of events, a single, seemingly innocent comment, a few casual words typed into a social media app from the comfort of his phone, has triggered a full-blown official NCAA investigation. The target isn't just Shedeur, it's his father's entire program, the glittering dynasty they built together from the ashes of a 1-11 team. The man who has lived his entire life believing he was untouchable may have just made a fatal amateur mistake, leaving a permanent digital breadcrumb that led the authorities straight to his doorstep. This isn't just a rumor or a headline, it's a compliance nightmare of the highest order, a self-inflicted wound that threatens to burn down the very empire he so proudly and publicly helped build. To truly understand how a few words on Instagram could lead to a potential catastrophe, you have to immerse yourself in the world according to Shedeur Sanders. He doesn't operate like a normal college athlete, bound by the typical constraints of amateurism. He operates like a CEO, a celebrity, a brand unto himself. He is the player who famously, after a game-winning touchdown against a bitter rival, turned to their hostile student section, slowly raised his arm, and flexed his diamond-encrusted Audemars Piguet watch. It was a moment of pure, unadulterated flex, an act of supreme confidence that became his signature celebration, a move that went viral globally and was forever christened the Shedeur. He's the guy who sits at press conferences surrounded by a sea of cameras and calmly states he doesn't feel pressure because, in his words, his father is Shedeur Sanders, and he comes from a rich family. He claims he plays football for the love of it, not for the money that most college players are desperate for, a statement that both endears him to his legion of fans and absolutely infuriates his critics who see it as out-of-touch arrogance. His social media presence is a completely unfiltered feed, a direct real-time line into the mind of a young star who feels he has nothing to hide and absolutely no one to answer to. This unshakable self-belief has been the cornerstone of his success, allowing him to not just survive but thrive in the intense 24/7 spotlight that follows his family everywhere. But it has also fostered a sense of invincibility, a dangerous belief that the normal rules of engagement, the ones that govern everyone else, simply do not apply to him. That dangerous belief was put on full, undeniable, and permanent public display on a seemingly normal day in the college football offseason. Gavin Could, a little-known offensive lineman from the University of Houston, did what thousands of other players do in the modern era. He announced on Instagram that he was officially entering the NCAA transfer portal, hoping to find a new home and a better opportunity. His post was a digital resume, a public plea for attention from coaches and recruiters across the country, a hopeful shot in the dark into the chaotic digital Wild West of college football. He certainly got attention, but not from who he or anyone else could have ever expected. Scrolling through the comments section, nestled among messages of support from friends and family, was a message from the most famous and influential player in all of college football, Shedeur Sanders. He wrote publicly for his millions of followers and the entire world to see, "We need defensive linemen and offensive linemen." It was a direct, unambiguous recruiting pitch, a clear and blatant violation of one of the NCAA's most sacred and strictly enforced rules. Under NCAA bylaws, student athletes are strictly forbidden from publicly recruiting or making any form of contact with potential transfers from other schools. It's a foundational rule designed to prevent tampering, to stop chaos and backdoor dealing from completely consuming the already wild world of the transfer portal. Shedeur either didn't know this fundamental rule, a shocking lapse in judgment for a player of his stature, or far more likely, he knew it and simply didn't care. It was an arrogant public display of tampering that screamed one thing loud and clear: "I'm Shedeur Sanders, and the rules are for other people." He was catastrophically wrong. Almost immediately, the digital world caught fire. Compliance experts, rival coaches, and college football journalists screenshotted the comment before it could be deleted, preserving the evidence in digital amber. And it didn't take long for the NCAA, the often criticized but still powerful governing body of college sports, to awaken from its bureaucratic slumber. Reports quickly surfaced from multiple credible sources confirming the worst. Shedeur's comment had directly triggered a formal NCAA investigation investigation into the Colorado football program for potential recruiting violations. This is not a minor slap on the wrist or a simple warning. When the NCAA launches an official investigation, it means they believe a serious breach has occurred, and they bring the full weight of their authority to bear on a program. Investigators can demand phone records, pore over text messages and emails, and interview coaches, staff, and players under oath in intimidating closed-door sessions, turning a program completely inside out for months, sometimes years on end. The potential punishments are severe enough to cripple a program for a decade. They can include significant scholarship reductions, which would starve the team of future talent, severe recruiting restrictions for the coaching staff, tying their hands behind their backs while their rivals feast, and even a postseason bowl ban, which would be a devastating blow to a team trying to establish itself as a national power, destroying morale and prompting other players to transfer out. With one reckless 5-word comment, Shedeur had single-handedly invited the NCAA police to kick down his father's door. The most damning part of this for Shedeur, and what makes it so terrifying for Colorado, is that this wasn't an isolated mistake. It was the latest example in a clear and growing pattern of reckless, impulsive behavior that suggests a deep-seated belief that he is above reproach. This is the very same quarterback who just months earlier engaged in a public and deeply personal feud with a former teammate, Xavier Smith. When Smith had the audacity to speak his truth about his negative experience at Colorado, Shedeur didn't take the high road or stay silent as any media-trained athlete would. He went straight for the jugular, publicly mocking Smith on social media as very mid and belittling his talent on a national stage for no reason other than to be cruel and to silence a critic. Time and time again, Shedeur has shown a stunning lack of restraint, engaging in online spats with fans and critics, and making impulsive statements that create unnecessary drama and negative headlines for his team. It all points to a consistent, troubling theme. Shedeur genuinely believes his status as the son of Shedeur Sanders and as a star quarterback puts him above the normal rules of conduct, whether it's the official NCAA bylaws or the unwritten rules of basic sportsmanship and human decency. He sees the rules as mere suggestions, guidelines for the less important players, but certainly not for him. This entire fiasco has now put Shedeur Sanders in the most difficult and compromising position of his entire coaching career. He is now facing the ultimate test, a direct and public conflict between his two most important roles, loving, protective father and accountable, rule-abiding head coach. As the head coach of a Power 5 program, he is solely responsible for maintaining NCAA compliance. The rulebook is explicit and unforgiving. Any violation, especially one as brazen and public as this, falls directly on his shoulders. He could be hit with a failure to control the program charge, one of the most serious accusations the NCAA can levy against a coach, an indictment that suggests a culture of chaos and rule-breaking that starts at the top. But the player who committed the violation is his own son, the centerpiece of his team, the quarterback on whom all his hopes rest. Does he publicly discipline his star player to show the NCAA he's taking it seriously, potentially creating a rift in his own family and undermining his on-field leader? Or does he defend his son, an act that could be seen by investigators as arrogant defiance and lead to even harsher penalties for the entire university? His every move, every word is now being scrutinized on a national stage, and his handling of this crisis will undoubtedly define his legacy as a leader far more than any win or loss on the field. While the drama unfolds in Boulder, you can be certain that NFL front offices are watching with intense interest and growing deep-seated concern. The NFL is a multi-billion-dollar league that despises distractions, and a franchise quarterback is expected to be the most disciplined, responsible, and mature leader on the entire team, the face of the entire organization. Shedeur's on-field talent is undeniable. He has the arm, the poise, and the it factor that scouts dream of. But this incident, combined with his long and well-documented history of questionable social media antics and public spats, is creating a massive red flag. It's earning him the single most dreaded label a top prospect can receive from scouts and general managers: uncoachable. NFL executives who are investing hundreds of millions of dollars in a first-round pick will now ask themselves tough, career-defining questions. Is this a player who will respect a professional playbook and a head coach's authority? Can he be trusted to represent a billion-dollar franchise in the community without creating constant PR nightmares? Is his immense game-changing talent worth the massive, predictable headache of a player who openly disregards rules and creates compliance issues at the highest level? Shedeur Sanders is now locked in a battle not against an opposing defense, but against his own towering ego. His unwavering confidence made him a star, but his belief that he is untouchable may be the very thing that brings his entire empire crashing down around him. The NCAA investigation looms like a dark cloud over Boulder. His father's hard-earned reputation is on the line, and his own NFL future, once a certainty, is suddenly clouded with serious legitimate doubt. The question is no longer about whether he can win the Heisman Trophy, but whether he can win the war against himself. Will Shedeur learn the hard, humbling lesson that no one, not even a Sanders, is above the rules before it's too late? Or will he be remembered as another generational talent whose own arrogance cost him and his family absolutely everything?